Again, I dare you. I double dare you, mother.
Get busy living. You get busy dying.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
You're gonna need a bigger boat. And here we go.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Cinema Cult Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Maloof. With me, as always, my co-host, Dante Troina. And today we've got a movie draft for you, a box office movie draft for the rest of 2025. You want to tell us about that, Dante?
Well, first off, the NFL draft is this week, right, Cody? So you're a Steelers fan. Who are you hoping for in this draft? Do you have anybody?
Who
Any
do I think the
prospects?
Steelers are going to get this draft here?
Yeah.
I don't know. Got to
What
be
do you
defense.
want? What position?
I think defense. Probably defense, especially because they signed DK Metcalf, so I don't think the receiver position is as much of a need. So probably a DB, or some O-line maybe first round.
Been a lot of Jackson Dart buzz. Jackson Dart to the Steelers.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think they will. I've heard the buzz that maybe they're going to take like a quarterback in like the later rounds as kind of just like a backup guy. I don't know if they'll go first round QB like a Jackson Dart or somebody like that, but definitely would be interesting if they do. I think things will become more clear once Aaron Rodgers, once that situation resolves itself, which who knows when that's going to happen.
Whatever that guy's up to.
Yeah.
For my Chargers, I'm really hoping we get a wide receiver. We need somebody out on the perimeter.
Indeed.
I think we had Lad McConkey last year who came on strong, but I think we're around in the early 20s for picks, and I think like a Luther Burden, Emeka Egbuka type pick would be a huge help to our squad this year. I think we've got an all right defense, got a good O-line, just need to shore up, get some playmakers, scare some other teams when we're on the field. I think so many times last year we methodically drive down the field, and I want to have a deep threat. I want to have somebody that puts fear into the other team's heart. So we got some generational prospects. I know you hate the word. We overuse
Such
it.
an overused
a lot of time,
word.
generational. But lots of good prospects coming up for this year. So we want to do our 7 rounds of movie box office drafting, as well as the NFL draft coming up this week. The rules are extremely simple. We're going to just go back and forth and be drafted movies in 7 rounds. We're going to be filling out our roster. And at the end of the year, we'll just have a fun thing to look back on and see what made what at the box office. Lots of movies that I don't think we're sure about could land anywhere from like 300 million to $1 billion. And I think the movie situation as a whole right now at the theaters is a very volatile one. So I'm kind of excited to see what ends up where. Maybe a 6-round pick will be one of our highest grossers. Who knows? But those are the rules, Cody. Very, very straightforward today.
So it's going to be cumulative at the end of the summer or at end of the year. Sorry.
End of the year. Yeah.
Whoever has the most cumulative box office gross in between all of our movies. Right.
Yep.
I like it. Okay. Well, just looking on my list here of movies I'm looking forward to in 2025, I think I'll be able to pick out 7 movies here that should do well. You know, it's always kind of hard to say at the box office. I mean, I don't think anybody saw Minecraft coming, and that might be the highest grossing movie of the year, and we're only in April. So
yeah,
we'll have to wait and see on that. But box office is a very tricky thing sometimes. People always try to predict it. And a lot of times it doesn't go the way that the experts think it will. So this will definitely be an interesting year at the box office. I think a very crucial year at the box office because we haven't had a ton of big hits yet. Minecraft really is the only thing that's really come out and done very well in the theaters. A lot of misses, frankly, so far this year as far as box office goes. I think we've had some decent releases as far as quality, but a lot of movies that really have significantly underperformed as far as box office goes. So this second half of the year will be crucial.
I don't think we saw Mickey 17 being just in and out as well, right? Like
on VOD in like
stuff,
20 days, 30 days or something.
Well, and then Minecraft, you get bad trailer, bad word of mouth the first couple of days, and then over the same weekend it just blows up.
Well, I don't know
because of the meme, right? So
I don't know if it had bad word of mouth though, because yes, as far as like the quality of the film goes, it's not going to blow you away as far as like a narrative or anything like that, as far as like film going techniques. But I mean, I think it had good word of mouth because it was pretty silly.
Over the weekend, yeah.
Over the weekend, it was fun. And I mean, obviously the memes just took it into the stratosphere and it's still going. So, yeah.
I think it's funny, like those Thursday night premieres, again, you can see like people going to Minecraft and just, it's empty, what the hell? And then they just missed the wave. They just were a little bit too early. They were too eager to get
if you went to Minecraft on Thursday night previews. I mean, what the fuck are you doing? Respectfully. And so I don't know. I don't know if you really deserve to have the experience, but yeah, it was fun.
And then we might get some duds as well. Like we might get some really good trailers or just a trailer coming on too late. I know Ballerinas due out in a couple months, and I know nothing about that movie, and that kind of sunk it on my big board here. I got a little big board. I think I'm more of a, like we said, an analytics drafter, and you might be more of a vibes
I'm just going with
drafter
my gut.
based off of this
The
year.
draft is always a crapshoot, in my opinion, anyways. All these highly touted prospects that don't end up doing anything, and then you get an Antonio Brown in the 5th round, or of course you get a Tom Brady in the 6th round, or someone like that. So I don't put too much stock into the analytics of it and the scouting, and I just trust my gut.
All right. I think I'll give you the first pick. I think no matter who had the first pick,
I'm gonna get you. Want to
um,
want to flip a coin or something?
yeah, we can flip a coin or something
Just
because I
flip a
think we
coin.
both have the same first pick.
Do you have a coin?
No.
You know what? Let's just go to a virtual coin flip.
Fair enough.
See what we got here. Okay, flip a coin. You want heads or tails?
Tails never fails.
Okay, let's
Let's
go
see.
here. And it is tails, so you will get the first pick.
Holy crap.
It is tails. You were just gonna
I've
give it away
just-
to me, and you just inherited it. So
I've
there you
just
go.
won the lottery. I've got my Michael Jordan. I've got the frozen golf balls or whatever, the frozen lottery balls for Patrick
Yeah.
Ewing.
Yeah.
I've got my Andrew Luck. I've got my generational prospect. I think again, I said it. We overuse this word, Cody, but Avatar: Fire and Ash. Come on, what are we doing? Like this is the prospect. I don't think we have this year. We have Cam Ward, who's kind of the consensus number one pick. He was not the consensus number one pick until a couple weeks ago. Avatar: Fire and Ash was the consensus number one pick his junior year of college. He was the consensus pick coming out of high school. We've been waiting for this guy to go pro for years, and we got Avatar: Fire and Ash. The first movie made 2.9 billion at the box office, just absurd, right? And then the second movie made 2.3 billion. So even if we have a similar drop off per se with the third movie, a $600 million drop off would still put us at $1.7 billion with Avatar: Fire and Ash. I don't know if this movie, whatever's going on in the world, I don't know if it has tariffs to go overseas or whatnot, or how it's going to be distributed, because I know a lot of its budget comes from the Asian market. But regardless, I think this movie will perform and perform very well. I am extremely happy to have this guy manning my squad. I think I'm putting this at the quarterback position instantly. It doesn't matter who I had on my roster last year. Avatar: Fire and Ash, I think we're going to get a first-year playoff bid out of this guy.
Sure. I mean, I think that was the consensus number one, like you said. So, not exactly surprised you went Avatar there. Yeah, I think the Avatar: Way of Water was like truly insane in the way that it just kept building and building, and made over $2 billion. So, I think it's a very smart pick. So, I'm up here. Let me.
I'm not going to
see.
Nico Harrison this, dude. I'm not overthinking a single thing. I'm just
like
hey,
it.
straight facts.
I like it. Let me see. I'm doing a little bit of research here. Okay. What am I gonna go here? So for my first pick, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff on the board still. I think that has a pretty good chance to make some really good money at the box office. Let me see. I think, I'm gonna take Fantastic Four.
Okay.
I'm gonna take Fantastic Four, and there's a lot going on here. I think there's a lot of choices that you could take for this number one pick, or for my number one pick still, but I'm going to put my bets on Fantastic Four, and I'm just going to hope that the fact that we haven't had a true Fantastic Four movie in a long time, we have never had a really good one. And I think a lot of people are going to want to see this. It's kind of the make or break moment for the MCU for this new phase, I think, or I'm not sure what phase we're in, or
I think for Marvel.
Right, for
overall.
for Marvel, yeah. I think I think this has a chance to do really, really, really well. A lot of Fantastic Four fans out there. I think a lot of people are really excited to see this movie. So yes, I'm going to take Fantastic Four with my first overall pick.
Yeah. Great choice. I think so. The Marvel average, the MCU average, do you know what the average is at the box office for the MCU?
No, do you?
$916 million. That
On
is
average.
a crazy average. The Phase 5 average I had it at 716 million, so still a drop off, but one of the best drop offs you could ever ask for to still be averaging
It's a pretty good
716 mil.
average. That's a pretty good
Um,
average.
Deadpool and Wolverine just made $1 billion the other year. So, if they can do it, I think the Fantastic Four can. Like you said, just a make or break moment for Marvel. I think you're taking a lot of risk on this prospect, but a good risk. I think it will pay off. I think this is maybe we had some not so good years. We had a great freshman year, but just kind of slept through our sophomore and junior year. We're coming out a little bit early into the draft, but we're going into the right hands here. And you're betting a lot on your first round prospect, the first steps. I think Pedro Pascal, just always having success, it seems like these days. Besides last night on TV, not a successful outing for him
Right.
in The Last of Us, but Fantastic Four. Marvel's having kind of a weird win streak right now. Like it's a don't mention it type. I think win streak. I think the Thunderbolts have had some really good trailers coming out. The Fantastic Four trailer, the second one was incredible, which we'll get into on another pod. And then Daredevil kind of steering the ship at this point. So after Brave New World starting this year on a dud, I really hope that you have a good franchise player in the first steps because I think it can pay off really well for you at the end of this year.
I think if Fantastic Four doesn't work out, if my blue chip quarterback here just completely like takes a shit and does not perform at all, I think we're going to be in for a very rough draft this year. So we really need this to work out. Like I said, this is still a very deep list here. There's still a lot of good
Oh, yeah.
prospects out there, but I definitely need a big performance out of Fantastic Four in order to win this draft.
I need a big performance out of my second round pick, and that's going to be Jurassic World Rebirth. As much as it pains me to say it, I think I will not be attributing to this film's box office, even though it's on my team. I am not a fan
You're telling
of
me
the
you're not going to
Jurassic
be at the theater
World.
watching this Jurassic World movie? Because I will be.
No, no.
I definitely will be.
The trilogy beforehand, the World trilogy, has averaged $1.3 billion, which is insane to me. It's crazy that they're pumping out movies still in this franchise that's still alive. You've seen all these franchises kind of Transformers kind of has died out. You got Predator making a resurgence. A lot of these just bigger franchises, I think when you don't put out quality movie after quality movie, you just kind of dip. And Jurassic as a franchise just has not dipped. So I'm just gonna take a bet on the sure thing. It's like a prospect out of Georgia. Like when you don't know what to do, you draft a Georgia defensive lineman, and at the very least they'll be average. So I think I'm just taking low risk, high reward here with Jurassic World Rebirth. I'm not thrilled about it. I didn't like him in interviews. His teammates didn't go to his birthday party, maybe, but I'm still bought into Jurassic World
He
as my
failed
second round pick.
whatever the test is, the
The
intelligence
Wonderlic,
test.
yeah, yeah.
Well, so did Lamar.
Um,
So did Lamar Jackson. Look how that worked out.
So did CJ Stroud.
Exactly.
So we just got to go with what we know. What we know is
think there's a lot
Jurassic
of-
Park movies make money.
There's some raw talent there. You know what I mean? Like there is
Right.
there is some raw talent in terms of this movie's ability to generate box office revenue, which this
Devoted
franchise
fan base.
this franchise has always been strong, even when the movies have been pretty shitty
Pretty bad.
for a long time. Like we have not had a good one of these since
The first
since
one.
the first one, since 1993, right? And they still, I mean, the last one made over $1 billion. And it was terrible. So this one has a very,
God
very
awful.
high chance. I probably should have drafted this number one, but I think I just wanted to go superhero at Fantastic Four. Just
Vibes.
I was gut feeling for me.
It was
so,
speaking to you. Yeah, that's all right.
yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna have to stay on the superhero train though here
Fair.
and go with Superman because I think that will be. I was debating which one I was gonna take for the first pick between Superman and Fantastic Four. Hindsight, maybe I should have done Jurassic World, but I'm gonna go Superman with my second round pick just because I think this pretty much everything I said for Fantastic Four goes for Superman. It's a big deal for the DCU. It's the first movie in the DCU. It's a Superman movie. These do generally well. And I think this is a new take on a Superman movie that we haven't had in a while. I think people are going to be excited to see this. It's had really good trailers. I think there's a lot of goodwill for Superman, just like there is for Fantastic Four. And yeah, I expect this movie to do very well. Also, filmed for IMAX, playing in IMAX, those tickets are more expensive. I think
Yeah.
that could also contribute to the box office here.
Well, I think you're right. Like the general audience, there's the Snyder cult on media, but the general audience is wanting a good Superman movie. I think we're very ready for a good Superman movie. Man of Steel made 670 mil, Batman versus Superman 870 mil. Still really good performances, but maybe not what you want out of the Superman name or franchise. And I think DC going all in on Superman and James Gunn, who's had a lot of success with Guardians of the Galaxy, I think they're on the right path with this, and they have one aligned vision, and that's going to get asses in the seats. It's coming 2 weeks before Fantastic Four as well, so I think if Superman's really good, Fantastic Four might have better box office as well because it'll just parlay into that superheroes are back kind of theme in the summer. I can already see it if both these movies are good, you getting some multiple billion-dollar performances out of these movies because I think Superman being good will only help Fantastic Four if it starts off with good reviews as well, and getting people to the box office. Hopefully, they have great release dates, right in the middle of July. The release dates that you really want. Jurassic World is a couple weeks before that. Avatar's for my pick is all the way in December, so we don't know those results for a long time. But you got the real meat of summer movie season. I think while Jurassic World we know it will make money, I'm not looking forward to it as much as I'm looking forward to Superman and Fantastic Four. Not even close on my end. So
I mean, I'm convinced that the Jurassic World thing, like people forget that they're still making these until they see the trailer a week
right.
before, and then everyone just goes and sees it.
Well, it's so weird too because like who's a Jurassic fan who like expresses
Exactly.
their fandom?
Just
You don't see
dinosaurs. That's all.
right.
It's just dinosaurs.
You don't see people like saying it's their favorite movie really, even the first one. It's not a common answer for people or like
Well, the first
if you
one,
ask someone
a
if
lot
you
of
ask
people
someone
love
what
that
are they
one.
looking for this year, I don't think a lot of people know this movie's coming out
I think you're right there.
still. And I agree with you. Like people just a week out, they're stumbling into another movie in the middle of summer movie season, like, oh yeah, I should take my son to see that. Because I remember in the 90s it was awesome.
Hmm.
And then I will probably have like the worst return on investment on Jurassic World as far as just people who want their tickets refunded. Maybe I don't have any faith in that movie. Like the worst $1.3 billion spent, maybe, instant buyer's remorse by my fan base there. But it's okay because I got their butts in the seats anyways. I'm between a couple movies right here for my third round pick. I've got my franchise quarterback. I've got my Georgia defensive lineman who's just gonna make some plays no matter what. Um, I'm going to get the ladies in the seats now. I'm getting my Travis Kelce figure here. I'm gonna go Wicked for Good.
Damn it!
Coming out.
I wanted that
sorry.
one.
Coming out November
It's a
26th.
It's a good
We
pick.
we need like the Swifty type fan base on our side. They will buy tickets, and as you see, they will buy jerseys. They'll be repping Wicked for Good come this football season or this box office season. So I'm all in on Wicked for Good. I just think it's a movie that will be even bigger than the first one because it's capitalizing so quickly off of it in the next year. I think we see a lot of success stories when a franchise sets the tone in one year and comes right back the next year and without like a rush production or a bad production track record or anything. I think it only has good momentum on its side. So I think it'll overperform the 751 million that Wicked made this last year. I'm projecting it to be a little bit higher on my analytics grid and big board over here.
Sure. Yeah, this is a really good pick here. This is one I wanted. I didn't think it would go this early. I thought I might be able to scoop it up later. This was definitely going to be my third pick too.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first one was a huge phenomenon. Everybody saw it. I really enjoyed it. And everyone I knew liked it too. So I think every single person that saw the first Wicked will be seeing the second one. So it's got to make at least another 750 million, maybe more. It's the culmination of the Wicked story. A lot of stuff happens in the second half of Wicked that people will be talking about, and you'll have to go see this movie like opening weekend, or it's all going to get spoiled for you. So yeah, I think this is going to be one of the biggest performers this year. I probably should have taken it earlier. But yeah, this
This
is a good pick.
this might be one of the best performers on like popcorn buckets and stuff like that too. I think these are the type of fans that buy the popcorn buckets or the extra merch in the theaters. Obviously, that doesn't go to the film's box office, but I think as far as if I'm building my franchise around movies, this is merch that will sell forever. The Wicked merch. So I'm all about Wicked on the tail end of November 26th this year.
There you go. Yeah, now I'm in a tough spot here. I'm not sure. I mean, there's a few obvious ones here, so I think I'm just gonna have to. Oh man. You know what? I'm just gonna go with the vibes and I'm gonna take Mission Impossible
Okay, that
because I
yeah.
know Dead Reckoning underperformed 2 years ago at the box office, but it also was going up against Barbie and Oppenheimer. The week after the Barbenheimer thing, Dead Reckoning was released.
Just
Um,
terrible,
Terrible
terrible timing.
timing. No one could have predicted it. And Oppenheimer was taking up all of the IMAX screens at that point
Yeah,
too, which
yeah.
also hurt the box office for Dead Reckoning. So I think this one will absolutely outperform Dead Reckoning. The Final Reckoning, the new Mission Impossible, will outperform its predecessor. And so I think this will be a solid pick. It's filmed for IMAX again, like I said with Superman. Same thing applies, even more so because I think all the stunts and that sort of aspect of Mission Impossible is going to drive people to go seek it out in IMAX wherever they can. I would absolutely be seeing this in IMAX if I could. So
Yeah,
I'm not going to be near an
yeah.
IMAX theater when this movie comes out, which is definitely really sad for me. But I think this is going to do well. I think you could have a 400, $500 million
Mhm.
outing from this, no problem. Maybe even
Oh,
more,
easily.
easily. And
Dead
this
Dead Reckoning still made 570 mil.
did it actually get to five. I thought it
It
was more in
it
the
actually
threes.
got to
Yeah,
500 million.
they still
So
got to 500. I mean, this movie also has reportedly cost over $400 million to make. So whether it turns a profit or not doesn't really matter for me. It's just about box office gross. So yeah, I'm gonna go Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning for my third pick.
I think it'll piggyback well off of Top Gun success as well, and just the Tom Cruise love that you see everywhere for our culture. Fallout made 791 mil in 2018. 2018 was a great year for box office in
Sure.
general.
Hmm.
But I agree. I think the IMAX thing, you're right on the nose with that. That Oppenheimer just stole all of its screenings, it felt like, and it felt like it was hard to see Dead Reckoning, and it was just placed at this awful spot in 2023. The Final Reckoning comes out May 23rd, so it's a month away, which
Coming up
is
fast.
awesome.
Let's go.
First off,
Let's
for
go.
us, that's awesome. So we're gonna get to see your draft pick pan out in real time pretty quickly here over the next month. They've had a great little marketing spree that they're going on, just promoting the phrase "I need you one last time, just trust me one last time." Like, oh yeah, I think everybody's bought in on it. Like, this is the pure. If you're the vibes team, this is the pure vibes pick.
Sure.
Um, and I think it's getting out ahead of everything. Being May 23rd, being that ceremonial kickoff of summer movie season. I think it's on a good weekend, right before Memorial Day weekend. It'll have the 3-day weekend built into its second weekend of budget or of box office gross. So I agree with your pick here. I think this is where I was going to go next. I'm sad you took it because I wanted Tom Cruise on my team. I was ready to trust him, but I'm gonna go in my fourth round pick. I'm gonna shill out again. With my third round pick, I went for Wicked for Good. I went for the ladies. Now I'm going for the kids. I gotta have something for the kids to look up to, and it's one that I think might be a little bit volatile, but it's one that made over $1 billion in 2016 with its first movie. I'm going with Zootopia 2.
Okay.
Um, it's coming
Okay.
out the same weekend as Wicked for Good, which scares me a bit. Um, but the numbers speak for themselves on the first movie. It's just something where, like, the worst case scenario to me, it makes half that, which is still 500 million. Um, and yeah, I don't have much to think about this movie. I don't think there are many kids movies this year either. So I think this kind of fills a nice void in the box office where there aren't as many kids movies. This is coming out around Thanksgiving, Christmas break. It might not be like a great first weekend performer, but I think it'll have its time in the box office and make good money. I also think this one scares me a bit because it could be something where it goes to streaming before Christmas and becomes a Christmas present for many kids in the short month that it's out. So who knows? I'm taking a chance on it. I think it feels weird to say I'm taking a chance on something where the first movie made $1 billion. But I'm taking a chance on Zootopia 2. I got the ladies in the stands. Now I got the kids in the stands as well. I think I'm filling up my roster pretty nicely here.
Yeah, I honestly forgot this movie was coming out. I
Oh,
have
me
not
too.
heard anything about it. Zootopia 2 is not exactly the kind of movie that's on my radar as far as
No,
like
no.
stuff I'm anticipating. But yeah, the first one was really successful. Sure. I mean, I see what you're doing here. You know, you're like filling in all the demographics, and I think that's probably a
Right.
smart move. So kids movies, animated kids movies, they definitely have potential to pop off at the box office and go crazy. So yeah, I like the
Well,
pick.
you got like three wide receivers so far. You got three
Yeah, you're
star
right.
playmaking wide receivers, and that scares the hell out of me. But I got a well-balanced roster right now. I'm counting on my different players to chip in at the right moments and bring me that box office championship. But you do have the high volatility where you could just blow me out of the water at any given time. If you are hitting on all cylinders, you might put up 40 points before I even know it, and
Yep.
that's terrifying to me.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna continue my trend here, and I'm just gonna go Thunderbolts. I'm just gonna take
All
all the
right.
superhero movies
Why
because
not at this point?
I'm already rocking with three superhero movies at this point. I think they're all gonna do very well. Thunderbolts probably will do the worst, but I think it will still outperform. You know, probably still be like top 10 box office at the end of the year when it's all said and done. I think it has great trailers, great marketing behind it. I think a lot of people have been getting on board with this movie
I think so.
as the marketing campaign has gone along. This movie is also coming out next week. So we're going to
Yeah.
see real soon if this movie has any legs or not. And I kind of like that. I want to get a sense early on how I'm going to be doing as far as the rest of my picks go. So
Right.
yeah, Thunderbolts. I think it looks pretty good. And I'm happy to have it on my team. Excited to see what's next.
No, I'm right there with you. And I think we're at a time right now where people want another good movie. I know we just had a really big success in Sinners, is what I feel like it's being portrayed as far as what it's earning and how it's being reviewed. And we get a nice 2 week window for Sinners, and then we're right into Thunderbolts, and then another 2 or so weeks into Mission Impossible. It's coming out at a good little middle ground right here where people are going to get excited to get back into the theaters, and I think Thunderbolts will perform pretty well. Again, the Phase 5 average is $716 million, so if you can catch, 3/4 of that average, you're still sitting at 500 mil, and that's going to pay dividends at the end of the year. And if you get good word of mouth, you might have your next Guardians of the Galaxy where you're getting 800 million and just cashing right into the bank with that money.
Yeah, I mean, Captain America still the new Captain America movie, which was pretty poorly reviewed by both critics and audiences, still at this point has grossed over $400 million worldwide. So, I even if I
Yeah,
had that movie, that would be a pretty decent pick right now. So,
yeah.
and I'm expecting Thunderbolts. I think everybody is expecting Thunderbolts to be a lot better than Captain America. And I think people are gonna like it more. So I'll have to wait and see, but I think it's a solid pick.
Well, and Captain America, you're right, had terrible marketing,
Right.
terrible word of mouth before the movie even came out, a bunch of reshoots and troubles. And then you have Thunderbolts that has had really good marketing, has had a huge push behind it, and already has kind of good word of mouth going into it, or good vibes at least going into it. And all it takes is the first couple of days of good reviews, and you're off. You've hit the ground here running. So Thunderbolts, I really like your choice there. Now I'm at a crossroads. I'm thinking about How to Train Your Dragon, maybe. Um, Wanting to go with maybe one of my vibe picks here. I'm already in the fifth round. Looking at Lilo and Stitch and thinking about the children again and their
Right.
power at the box office, but also thinking maybe Disney's on a bit of a downfall. And we just had the announcement with Snow White.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be
Post
no
Snow
more
White.
live action film, and
We'll see
and
if they
maybe
actually
Lilo and
stick to
Stitch
that.
kind of bites that bullet a bit. So I am going to go uh, with a high volatility one that scares the hell out of me, and that is Michael, coming out October 3rd. The Antoine Fuqua,
Is that
Michael
actually?
Jackson.
I thought that might have been delayed. Is that actually coming
Oh,
out?
did it?
I would check on that. I
Let
think
me
that might have
check.
been delayed due to some rights issues with music, I believe.
Oh, Jesus.
But you might want to double check that before you
I'm
draft it.
looking. 2025 film. Yeah, still October 3rd, 2025.
Okay.
As far as I know, Jafar Jackson playing Michael Jackson. Coleman Domingo as Joe Jackson, Miles Teller in it, Nia Long. It's an interesting cast. Um, but I'm scared as hell of this movie because we have, Elvis, which made 288 million, and then we have Bohemian Rhapsody on the other end, which made 910 million. So I think we're somewhere in that range. Um, whether that's the upwards of 800 million or like low 300 million, I don't really know. I don't know much about this movie. I haven't seen any trailers for it. I didn't realize it was coming out this year until I did some box office scouting over the last couple of weeks, not just today. I've been taking this very seriously. I didn't just look at some of the box office projections today, make my big board. I've been in the lab studying, but can't find much film on Michael, which is scary for a prospect, but I'm ready to ride with him. So Michael is my fifth round pick here.
Sure. I mean, I see where you're coming from here. I definitely was not going to touch this movie. I think people do love Michael Jackson, but a lot of people, his reputation obviously is very
Conflicting.
complicated
Yeah.
nowadays. That's actually the reason for the delay. I just looked it up here, and it was delayed from April to October. So it actually was like supposed to be out
Okay.
like now, I guess, right?
Okay.
But delayed to October. That's due to some issues surrounding who they can and cannot portray as far as the
Well, and how the hell
allegations
do
that
we
came
market
out
this?
about Michael Jackson later. So yeah, um, I think this is a very interesting movie. Anton Fuqua, I think a guy that has made some good movies in the past.
Yeah, a
Um,
lot of movies.
yeah, a lot of movies.
Some
So
good.
some good, some not so good. So yeah, this is a very interesting movie to me. I will definitely be seeing this as soon as possible.
Sure.
Yeah, the box office will be interesting. Like you pointed out, you had a good point there with Elvis doing very well. That movie was kind of just like a phenomenon, the Austin Butler thing.
Yeah.
It got all the Oscar nominations. Not a movie that I enjoyed very much. I thought was pretty
No.
flawed and in some cases pretty bad. Although the Butler performance was great. So yeah, this will be interesting. The musician biopic thing, it's something that's never going to stop. Some of them do very well, some of them don't do very well. Michael Jackson, obviously one of the
Right.
biggest stars of all time, one of the most famous people in the history of the world. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this movie does.
I don't know what point we're at in the world if we're actually ready for this movie either. I think it's a really weird timing for it. I don't think, well, the Michael Jackson stuff, whatever you want to make of it, has maybe taken a backseat. I don't think it's blown over whatsoever. And I think we're still at a point where there's a lot of stigma around him as a person and as a performer. And I'm really curious to see what angle they take in this movie and how it portrays Michael Jackson. I think that can lead to a lot of controversy too, which might lead to a lot of box office success. So this is my, Des Bryant getting arrested a couple weeks before the draft, or my, like it's just something that I'm taking a chance on. Maybe Jalen Carter getting involved in some incidents right before the draft, slipping into the late round one. This movie is slipping into round five for me. I think I'm feeling good about it. It's going to be a challenge for my marketing team because, we got Wicked, which is a layup. We got Avatar, which we don't even have to market and will make me $1 billion at least. Jurassic World feels like the same way. And then Zootopia, which is, the kids. There's no controversy there. Just market it to the kids. And then we got the Michael Jackson movie in the next round, which is
Don't let him near the
probably
kids.
a marketing nightmare. Yeah, do not let him near the kids. Do not let the kids sleep in the theater to see this one. So we'll see where it goes.
Okay, so oh, I'm pretty conflicted here. I'm not sure. So I have 2 picks left, right? This is my 6th round selection.
This is your 5th round.
This is my 5th round. So
You
I
got
have
3
I have
more.
5, 6, 7. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna go vibes like I've been doing the whole time. I'm just gonna make a pick here, and I'm gonna pick Tron Ares.
Okay.
I have not seen either of the Tron movies, which I
really?
will be watching them before you. I've not seen the original or Tron Legacy. But I know that Tron Legacy made a good amount of money, made over 400 million at the
Somewhere
worldwide
around
box
400.
office.
Yeah.
It only made 175 domestically, but worldwide it made over 400 million. So hoping that the international audiences can show out again for Tron Ares.
Yep.
I'm not sure if people still remember Tron. I remember it was like pretty big for the first couple years after it came out. I've heard a lot about it. I'm gonna watch both those movies before this one comes out. Um, had a good trailer. I think I don't know. I'm just picking. I'm just going vibes here. I just think Tron Ares has the chance to do something big for me. So yeah, that's my pick.
Yeah, lots of upside here. You're in for a treat watching Tron Legacy. I think the movie itself is fine, but it's just a cool vibes movie, and Jeff Bridges gives a fun performance in it that I really enjoy, and I know you like Jeff Bridges, so you'll like that aspect of it. And it's scored by Daft Punk, and so it has a really cool like
That's
techno
what I've heard.
futuristic score in it. So I think like it'll hit you on good angles where, like it's like a 3-star movie for me, but it's a 3-star movie that I enjoy thinking about. I don't go back and rewatch it much. But it's just a cool little anecdote in my movie watching time. I'm gonna go for my vibes pick here. So I think I filled out a good enough roster where I'm confident I've got all my analytics squared out. And now, like Colin Cowherd says, it's time for some manalytics. All right. I don't want the analytics. I want the manalytics. I want somebody who's going to carry me to a win in December when it's snowing. Um, and I think F1's got some manalytics behind it,
Sure,
right?
sure.
We got Tom Cruise, or sorry, not Tom Cruise. Jesus, we got Brad Pitt. Uh, maybe not the box office draw that Tom Cruise is, but we got Tom Cruise's collaborator and Mr. Joseph Kosinski
Sure.
behind the ones and twos here. And I'm all the way bought in for F1. I think we talked about it. It's a 10 out of 10 on our excitement scale. I know I'm going to be contributing to maybe like one or two at least watches of this movie. So, and I know you probably will as well. So there we go. There's, $50 in box office right there. So what else do we need? So
Right.
F1, I'm all the way in.
Yeah, I wanted to take this. I'm just not super convinced based on what we've gotten, like as far as trailers and stuff,
No,
that
me neither.
this is gonna make a ton of money. It's not the same thing as Top Gun Maverick, where it had Top Gun, obviously, like it had been
Right.
building for years at that point, over 30 years. And then the years that we had, like we had the Top Gun Maverick trailer for like 2 years before the movie came out because of COVID. And
Yeah.
we had a lot of time to get the word out that you need to see this movie. And then obviously the word of mouth was amazing. It was one of the best movies of that year. F1, I'm obviously going to see it. I think it's going to be really good. I think I'm going to enjoy it, but I'm just not convinced on the box office aspect of this movie yet. But I would love to be
No, me
proven
neither.
wrong. I would love to be proven wrong. I hope this movie does really well. But yeah, I'm not convinced. So that's why I hadn't taken it up to this point. It definitely was on my list though. Like I might have snagged it later on if it was still open.
I'm just gonna feel so good if it pans out. Where like this is my selfish pick as a GM, where this is my guy that I turned on the TVs for every Saturday in college. And he slipped all the way to me at this moment. So I've watched the trailers hundreds of times, it feels like already for this movie. I'm so hyped up. The Apple thing kind of scares me. Maybe this movie doesn't have the measurables, right? Like it's a 5'10" draft pick, maybe not your ideal measurables for the position, but it also has the intangibles, the Brad Pitt as a star, the Damson Idris maybe making a standout performance as well. And so I'm just ready for it. I'm with you where like it could make 70 million and that wouldn't shock me, or it could make like 300, 400 million and that wouldn't shock me either. One way or the other. I think critically it'll be received pretty well. I just think it will at this point. I think I know what I'm getting out of this movie. Um, but I'm also not sure if box office will translate through that. It seems like Apple's going all in on marketing this movie, but I also don't trust the Apple machine as well in this case.
Yeah, this will tell us something about these kinds of movies, I think.
Right.
As far as box office goes. The Apple thing is interesting. They don't normally make a lot of money at the box office, or even though they
Right.
make a lot of expensive movies, like Killers of the Flower Moon, for example. But I think this probably has the best shot of any of the big Apple theatrical releases to make a lot of money at the box office. Brad Pitt,
I think
he's
so.
gonna get people in seats. I think people want to go see stuff go fast. They want to go see like a cool F1 racing movie starring Brad Pitt. I think that'll get a lot of people in. I don't think this will be a slouch at the box office. I think it'll be profitable. But I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know.
I
I
think the
wasn't
Formula
convinced.
One crowd too is a lot bigger than we even know at this
Yeah.
point. I think we'll feel that in full force with the Formula One crowd, and I think on IMAX screens too. In that case, I think it'll perform well over there too. So hoping for my Formula One people, my Southern U.S. people, to show up in numbers for this one.
I am gonna go with a little bit of a zag here, and I'm gonna hope for my adult audiences, my R-rated horror fans, and I'm gonna take 28 years later.
Okay,
Um,
yeah,
I think obviously this just is not like the broadly appealing, big, sweeping like movie that is gonna get all different kinds of demographics into the theater. But I think when R-rated horror movies really hit hard, adult audiences flock to see them. This is zombies. This is IP. Like we know what we're getting generally speaking with this movie. I think the first movie especially has a lot of fans in the cinephile world. Like that movie is like a
yeah.
huge cult hit. I think all those people will obviously be out to see this. I think any adults, anyone that wants to go see a bloody zombie like horror movie, this movie has great trailers out. A new one just came out. This movie, I think, has a lot of momentum right now, and I'm excited to see what it does at the box office. I think this could be a really good like horror movie, R-rated box office turn.
Do you think it's placed at a bad time? June 20th?
You like it has a lot of other competition at that time.
They've
Um,
got the How to Train Your Dragon the week before, which is a whole totally different audience, right? But then the two superhero movies right after it, um, kind of scares me. Like,
yeah,
not in
yeah.
a like I'm gonna see this movie, and I
I
think
think
it has some of the best trailers of the year.
you
Like,
make a good point. You make a good point there. I think some of the movies, other movies I've drafted, might take some box office money away from 28 years later. So that's definitely something to think about. But I don't know. I just wanted to get an R-rated horror movie
yeah,
on there. Horror movies, they can do very well at the box office.
yeah.
We've seen that in the past. So we don't necessarily need the big general audiences, all four quadrants to make a lot of money. So we'll see how this
Well,
goes.
and you might want those other movies to do well in its place or at its expense, because I think a bigger Fantastic Four and Superman, it might sink your 28 years later, but it might be beneficial for your team in the long run too. I'm gonna go right off your horror pick. I know I've picked a lot of movies that are later in the year. I'm still betting on a lot of good trailers, hopefully. A couple of bad trailers could sink my team pretty fast. Imagine if the CGI looks spotty in Avatar, which it won't, but right, like
Right.
imagine if James Cameron just lost his touch all of a sudden. I'm gonna go with The Conjuring: The Last Rites, or last, yeah, The Conjuring: Last Rites. Again, horror audiences showing up September 5th, so a little bit out of the way, which I like really well for this movie. I think it bodes well for it being just kind of on the tail end of that summer movie season, and like early fall for some people in September, settling in nicely there. So I think that's going to be my last pick to round up my team. I think I have a well-balanced squad here, and I think this just kind of checks off that last box I needed. Could have an R-rated horror film in the Michael movie, depending on which angle you take, but The Conjuring: Last Rites is certainly my bona fide R-rated horror movie.
Sure, yeah. I like what you're doing. You got to round out the squad. Like you said, I had about three wide receivers. I probably have four wide receivers if you're going and looking at my list here. So you got to round out the squad a little bit, bring some other guys in there, and yeah, I think that's a good pick for you.
Well, I
Um,
want to watch your team more. I definitely
right,
do.
but that's not what we're going for here.
But we're
But
going for
yes,
general audiences for sure.
yes, yes. Okay, so my last one, I'm also gonna try to do a little bit more rounding out of my squad here. Currently, let me just go back to what I've got here. Okay. So yes, I'm gonna round out my squad just a little bit further, and I'm gonna take the Karate Kid.
Okay.
I'm gonna take the
Yeah.
Karate Kid Legends, which I've seen the trailer for. I'm not a big Karate Kid fan, but I know there is like a huge audience
Oh
out there
yeah.
that is
Yeah.
obsessed with the Karate Kid,
Cobra
right?
Kai.
Cobra Kai was huge. This movie's bringing in elements from Cobra Kai. It's gonna get all those people in. I think this could be like just like a fun four quadrant family, like good time at the movies. Karate Kid, pretty good basic plot structure. Like hero, like a hero's journey kind of thing where it's
Yeah.
going to be really easy to follow. It's going to be pretty crowd pleasing. I think this will do well. And so that's why I'm taking it. Karate Kid Legends. Hopefully it can show up for me when I need it.
I think so. I think it fills a spot that not a lot of movies are this year. I know like superhero movies have become our family movies, but it looks like they're trying to be a little bit more mature this year with Thunderbolts. Even the Fantastic Four trailer was a little grim, honestly. And then the Superman stuff looks a little more adult than most superhero movies. So I like what you did there. Just getting something that can fit people of all ages, can get some nostalgia trips from the first Karate Kid stuff, as well as the Cobra Kai fan base pouring in there as well. Some stuff that we left on the big board, some undrafted free agents. Maybe they'll outperform our draft picks. Maybe the field will do better than our draft picks in stuff like How to Train Your Dragon, coming out June 13th. That's franchise made an average of 545 million when it was animated. I don't think it has good word of mouth into the live action remake, but
But these
live
live
action
action
remakes
remakes, they
have
do
still
tend to do
they
well.
still make money. Yeah, like remember Lion King a couple years ago? That movie
Exactly.
sucked.
And it was over $1 billion.
Absolutely sucked. Over $1 billion. So,
Yes.
that wasn't the steroid era pre-COVID where everything was
Sure.
everything was making over $1 billion. Freaking Aquaman made a
Right.
billion,
He was
but
juicing for sure.
that's part of the game, baby. Love it or hate it. And then Lilo and Stitch. I'm super worried about that one. That was just another one on my big board. I think it could make a boatload of money and have a nostalgia trip, or it could be like, why wouldn't I just watch Lilo and Stitch again, the cartoon, on my end? Like that's what I think about it.
Hmm.
And then bad word of mouth for live action type remakes right now. Even though I know Lilo and Stitch isn't really live action fully with the CGI Stitch
Well,
puppet,
but it is
but
though, right?
it is, right. It fills that vein and I think fills that void for audiences. So curious to see how those ones do as well. Maybe we'll look at the field versus our teams as well at
That'd
the
be
end of the
interesting.
year.
Hmm.
But really excited about my squad here. I'm
Yeah,
all
do
bought into
you
my
want to just
team.
go over your squad real quick? Everyone you drafted.
Yeah, I got my generational talent, my Trevor Lawrence, my Andrew Luck, my Caleb Williams. Some of those didn't pan out so well. But I got Avatar, Fire and Ash with the first pick, which I think, like you said, would be our first pick, no matter who is picking. My second pick, my Georgia defensive lineman, my old reliable Jurassic World rebirth. Good God, I'm not excited for this movie, but I need a D lineman. I need that 1 billion, and I think it'll get it for me. I got Wicked for Good in my third round pick slot, filling up the fans of all demographics here, along with Zootopia 2 as my fourth pick. In the steroid era, Zootopia made over $1 billion. So, hoping outside of the steroid era, Zootopia 2 can do half of that, and I'll still be in a good spot with them. Going into my fifth round pick, I have a scary pick, but I think it has high upside in the Michael Jackson biopic by Antoine Fuqua. Michael, coming out October 3rd in my fifth round. And then going into the sixth round, I went straight vibes. Have no clue how Apple's going to market this. Could go one way or the other. I think its ceiling is pretty low. Um, but F1, I think it can get up to 300-ish million, which will just be a nice rounding out step for my squad. And then I have The Conjuring, Last Rites as my last pick, which I think will be around 200, 300 million. Probably won't perform that well overseas, but will just be a good American box office hit, The Conjuring.
Yeah, I think you got a really solid squad there. I think this will be close. I think when it's all said and done, we'll be pretty close to each other. But I guess we'll see. So for my first pick, I took Fantastic Four. I think I've got like just a squad of athletes here, like all 4-star recruits coming out of like,
Right.
Ole Miss or LSU or somewhere where maybe Alabama guys in here, just guys that
Well,
you
if it gels right,
exactly.
you're in a good spot. Yeah.
Exactly. So I took Fantastic Four number one overall. Then I went straight to Superman. Then I got Mission Impossible for my third pick.
A
My
lot of high
fourth,
ceiling guys.
a lot of high ceiling guys. I think a lot of guys that on paper were looking really good, but we just have to see them play. We just got to see the results on film before we can make any like final conclusions here. Fourth pick, I took Thunderbolts. I'm just taking all the superhero movies, just kind of
Yeah.
hedging my bets on superheroes this summer.
One
Then
of
I
them's
took
got to hit.
one of them's got to hit, right? Then I took Tron Ares. This is for me. This is like the Marvin Jones Jr. sort of thing. This is like the son of a great player, right? Who we're hoping can kind of replicate his
Right.
father's success. So I took Tron Ares. Then I went 28 years later. I don't know if you can quite call this a sleeper, but this is something where I just wanted to switch it up. I had a bunch of like action movies, stuff that everyone like generally can see. Then I went to 20 years later, my zombie horror movie. I'm hoping I can get all the R-rated horror fans on my side. And then I went Karate Kid Legends, like the young guy, the guy who you're really just not quite sure about, but he's got great hype. And we're just
Could be
hoping
your
that he
Brock
can.
Purdy.
Yeah, we're just hoping that
No clue.
maybe Mr. Irrelevant can really come out and show us like what he's all about here. Karate Kid Legends. Who knows? Maybe that could end up being the highest grosser on my list when it's all said and done. You never really know
Yeah.
with these things. So, yep, that's my squad. Pretty hyped. Bummed obviously that I missed out on I think two of the big ones that I really wanted. Obviously Avatar, that was going to be whoever got the first pick, but then Wicked.
Yeah.
I think Wicked was also a great pick by you. One that I would have really liked to add to my squad here, but overall I'm pretty satisfied.
Yeah, I grabbed that demographic early. I think Karate Kid, like, yeah, that can, all it takes is one chicken jockey moment, right? We found that out this year. All it takes is one I am Steve to get people into the theater. So you truly do never know. And maybe even the week before the movie when nobody's going to go see it, all of a sudden you're the highest grossing movie of the year. I think Avatar, just like we talked about it before the podcast, but there's an Avatar problem here. Like it is very much the prospect that we both most desire. Um, but outside of that, everything else it feels like could make $1 billion at this moment, or could make less than 300 million. Like you have no clue at this time of the year what we're gonna see. Like, do superhero movies just crash and burn? And Superman sucks, and then Fantastic Four gets bad early word of mouth, and oh my God, we're back to Stone Age where Fantastic Four is making like 200 mil at the box office. That's what we could get to, or we catch wind and you double up my team with your superhero movies in the middle of the year. So I like the risky business of your team, just being like very high ceiling, very fun to watch. Will definitely get me in the stands as a fan. Whereas maybe I've got like a Kansas City Chiefs squad with a lot of full rounded out team, or maybe a Philadelphia Eagles, but I'm not going to watch all their games because they're not as exciting to me. Where you've got like I don't know what team would be a good comp. You've got like almost like a college team, I think,
I
or
think
like
so.
the 2016 Steelers or something, where it's
Sure.
like Lev Bell, Antonio Brown, Big Ben. Like hell yeah, I'm watching that team every week.
High flying.
That's an awesome team. So you got like the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
You're being counted out, but you got Jared Goff, Jameer Gibbs,
We got a lot of
Montgomery,
players.
Jameson Williams, Amon Ra. Like you're a fun team to watch. I'm gonna
We
watch
got
you
a
every
good
week.
system. We got the superhero
I think
box office
so.
thing. We got Mission Impossible. We got a good system to play in. So hopefully
Right.
we can, hopefully it'll pay dividends for us.
All right. I think that's
Yeah.
where we're at with this.
Yeah. I think overall, I really hope the box office does well this summer. I think obviously when the box office is doing well, this whole industry, movies are doing well, and it's good for
Right.
everybody. So hopefully we can get a lot of stuff out of all of our players this year. But not just the movies we drafted, but also everything else. We hope for a good summer.
Yeah, this was just a fun offshoot episode for us. I think it was an idea that we just like to put out alongside the NFL draft. Um, but I completely agree. Like we want all these movies to make 1 billion, and just it's our collective stock market for the movies. We want it to be good at all times. We want our stock market to be like 2018, 2019, where it just seems like every other week we're getting $1 billion movie. Like that's what I want. I think all these movies have the potential to be truly great movies, and if they catch the right audience, then we're in great shape as movie watchers. So I'm all in on my team. I know you're all in on yours, and we'll check back at it at the end of the year.
Yeah, let's go. Make sure to follow us right on Instagram, Twitter at Cinema Cult Pod. Um, Add us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the Cinema Cult Podcast. Subscribe to us on YouTube, Cinema Cult Pod. And yeah, we'll have new episodes out real soon for you guys.